Hello and welcome to For Fox's Sake. My name is Pete Selby and I'm alongside Andy Moore, and we're talking all things FA Cup, which is great because it's that weight lifted off shoulders. It doesn't matter where you are in the league. It doesn't matter whether you're top, whether you're bottom, whether you're struggling. It doesn't matter whether you're arguing over who's who in the side, etc. It's the FA Cup. Anything can happen, and it usually does. And Andy, what a great third round weekend. Maybe a little bit straightforward for us, talking all things Leicester, but I think first of all, hello. And secondly, let's just start with that Macclesfield win. I mean, what a tremendous, tremendous story to beat not only Premier League side, but to turn over the holders. I think, and I've been discussing this over the last couple of days with a few friends at work, it has to go down as the biggest ever upset. We look back at Ronnie Radford's goal and, of course, Coventry in the late 80s. And recently, one of the things that was a bit of a bugbear of mine about football is when people say the cup's lost its magic. No, it hasn't. It hasn't lost its magic at all. What it has lost, it's lost its kind of importance to a number of clubs because they've got Champions League and all that sort of thing. But in terms of cup upsets or cup sets, we get more of them now than we ever did before. And I think it still holds that magic place. And this is the biggest ever cup upset. And what a great story.
I thought one of the best stories I've seen in a long time in the FA Cup. You're right. There have been a lot more cup upsets in recent years, and probably, like you said, that the top teams probably don't take it as seriously as they used to in the past. But what a win! It was just great, and like I say, for Crystal Palace, the holders who have been a bit up and down this year, but obviously I think Macclesfield are going quite well in their own league, so just shows you what momentum can do when they're playing well.
Absolutely, and Leicester easily, as I said in the title, which I'm rather proud at actually, cleared the Cheltenham hurdle, which again, just to get another horse racing bit of a dig in there. But there you go, and we did so, and I think we have a little bit of a pat on our back regarding the team because I think we got it quite right when listening to the preview. Now, if you've been on to forfoxsake.news, you would have read, if you are a member, do remember that being a member is only £5 per month, and you've got a whole plethora of articles to go through, including the 5 things to look forward to in the preview with Cheltenham. And I'm looking forward to having the 5 things that we've learned as well. At the moment on the site, we'll just go into what's on the site at the moment, what's absolutely red hot. But on forfoxsake.news, the one thing I just wanted to ask you before we talk about Cheltenham, Andy, is regarding a certain Jamie Vardy. And you've been talking to people who are there. You've been talking to Italian journalists to get a first-hand point of view on Jamie Vardy over in Italy.
Yeah, like I say, I was quite well aware that it was his birthday coming up soon. Obviously, that's caused quite a lot of contention on the socials with there being no birthday message from the club, whereas in the past they've done it for a plethora of bit part players. So there's obviously some clear issues around Jamie Vardy at the club at the moment. But yeah, so I thought, let's try and celebrate his birthday. He is the GOAT to us. So let's have a chat and see how he's doing out in Cremonese. So I contacted a local journalist out there who covers the club, and he was very, very accommodating. So thank you, Ivan Gigi, I think his name is. From the Provincia Cremona. But yeah, very, very helpful. And it's just basically looking back at how he left us, what he was going to do, and then how he's been getting on really over in Cremona. And it was nice to see as well. We posted it on all of our socials, I think it was. Nice to see that we got a little like from Becky Vardy as well on Instagram. So obviously she's had a quick look at it as well. So, but yeah, it was just something that we thought we've got to honour the man. He is the GOAT for us, as we say. And if we better honour him if the club are not going to.
Absolutely. Also on the site, the sad news of Howard Riley passing away at the age of 87, made over 200 appearances. Talking to my dad about him today, actually. He remembers him as being a very slight winger, typical of the time, very quick, very nimble, getting down the wing, getting crosses in. four centre forwards, a classic kind of winger of that era. And we've got an obituary there, but also we've got an interview that Rob did a long time ago with Howard. Great to hear his first-hand thoughts. So again, you can read that on for fox8.news. Coming back right to the modern day, and you've got a piece regarding the recent boycotts against West Bromwich Albion, which is a very interesting read as well. Talk to me a bit more about that, Andy. Just we've heard all these stories online, we've heard about the boycott, etc. But for Fox 8, we've gone straight to the actual source and the people who organised it.
Yeah, again, it was just something that we thought, well, let's give it a go. Let's see if we can contact who's one of the leaders of it. And we thought, let's see what their reasons are. Obviously, some people support it, some people didn't. It was clearly quite effective. On the night, say 15,000 there, max probably. So we thought, let's go and have a chat with him. We had a chat beforehand about what he was hoping was going to come out of it. And then afterwards, we thought, oh, let's go back to him and see whether he wants to give us an update. And he was very, very accommodating. I think he didn't want to be named as a person kind of thing, but we kept that anonymous for him as he requested. But it was at King Power out on X, or Twitter as we call it. But yeah, he was very accommodating and obviously offered about what he hoped would happen and any next steps that could take place if there was no action from the club, and there isn't any action off the pitch from the club. Obviously, the team have won the last couple of games, which is a bit more of a positive. But yeah, it's just something that I think we're trying to get on top of, making sure that we're there with most of the news when we can, speak to the right people at the right time, basically.
So head over to for fox8.news. There's plenty more pieces on there. There's a piece I did on Jordan James and his impact on the football club. We're continuing our countdown as well of the top 100 players to ever play for the club, and we're into the 80s now. So do make sure you check that out. And there's plenty of coverage with the resumption of the WSL season. So if you are a fan of Leicester City women, if you pay close attention, if you want to find out more, or indeed, if you know people who go down and watch Leicester City women and they're searching around for a podcast, first of all, for Fox 8, and we've got coverage with Lily Saunders talking all things WSL with the women's football show, and also full coverage on for fox8.news. Point people in that direction. And once again, it's £5 per month. And what does that do? That enables us to provide all these articles, all these stories, and the podcast that you're watching and listening to right now. So if you want to support us, we've been going for an awful long time. Again, it's £5 a month. Head to for fox8.news. Check it out. Check it out on your laptop. Check it out on your iPad, or check it out on your mobile. It's a brilliant site. Check it out now. And if you want to subscribe, please do. And you can read all of that content. And there's more and more every day, every week. And we're going to be going for an awful long time. So please get involved. Now, we are live. So if you want to get involved with the show, then do make sure that you comment either through X or Twitter, through YouTube, through Facebook, however you're watching this right now. And if you're listening or you want to listen back, then you can find us on any of your podcast listening devices, or maybe probably platforms is probably the best way of doing it. Spotify and Apple Podcasts. However, do remember you can listen to us. So if you want to listen to us tomorrow morning, maybe on the way to work. We're talking all things Cheltenham. Then it was rather straightforward, wasn't it, Andy? We mentioned about Begovic being in goal. I'm quite happy to see him. And then you got the additional experience with Vestergaard, and then you've got the likes of Aluko. You've got also Page and Thomas in the side, Daka returning. So we were quite good with our prediction for the lineup. And I think it was one of those routine wins where you can highlight one or two specific performances. And I kind of put a tantalizing description to the podcast regarding, did any of the youngsters, in your opinion, I think this is the important question of the week, really, did anyone in that game, and I'm talking about the youngsters there, push their claims for a first team start? Or, and I may have given the answer away for what I feel, was it actually Patson Daka who put his hand up and says, pick me away at Coventry?
If I'm going down anybody, yes, I'll go Patson Daka. He took his goal well. He was a bit of a nuisance. It was good. It was good to see the youngsters get a game and things like that and show you what you can do. Obviously, you've got to take into account the opposition. It was only Cheltenham Town. It was comfortable. They huffed and puffed at us, but they never really created that much. The odd couple of saves from Begovic. I just felt it was, like you say, it was very routine. I never felt like we were going to get into trouble. Even if they'd have scored a goal, which they didn't, obviously, I just never felt that we were going to lose it or get anxious. It just seemed to be that once that first goal went in, they just seemed to relax and they just use the game more of a let's see what we can do. Let's see whether we can stake our claim to get into that first team. All the kids did fine. There was no real issues. I thought Thomas was good. I thought Page was good. All of them were good. But yeah, if I'm going to go with anybody, I would say Patson Daka did show that on his day, he probably could be a decent option for us. He needs that confidence. He needs that consistency to get games. And he did his job. He got the goal, and it was a good goal. And hopefully, after that barren run he's been on, let's see if we can get 3, 4, 5 more before the end of the season.
And I suppose that's the key with Daka, isn't it? It's the fact that he's scored, and all goal scorers need confidence, and goals breed confidence. And the one thing that we do know, and we all know out there, and don't get me wrong, I'm not getting carried away about Patson Daka scoring one very good goal against a struggling lower league side. But the one thing that we do know that Daka possesses, he can finish. He can finish one-on-ones, etc. And look at the finish on Saturday. It is pretty much everything else in his game is the worry. Now, I was liking, and I'm writing a piece this week for Fox8.news regarding the manager Marty Cifuentes, and one of the points that I've making regarding it's a little bit of you're kind of arguing against yourself on a piece with Marty, because I think there's people out there who don't like him at all. There's people out there who go, well, he's absolutely fine because it's the side, etc. And it's an argument to and fro, and 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But the one thing I labelled against him is the fact that we haven't really seen two up front, and I believe that's where you get the best out of Patson Daka. And I think not just two up front, but I think he's been slow to identify how to get the best out of our star players, which I think it doesn't matter what level of football you're coaching at or managing at. I think you need to essentially have the team built around your best players to get the best out of them. They are, after all, they are your star players, and they can make the most impact. And I think he's been very slow at that. And with Patson Daka, I was doing the countdown again back on for Fox8.news regarding the top 100 players. And I don't want to give a name away, but there's a certain player who enabled a very raw Jamie Vardy in the championship campaign. And I think that's a sort of player or a sort of position that would enable Patson Daka to be on the shoulder of a player and say, look, don't worry. Don't worry about the build-up play. We will play the ball through to you to run onto. You can run around up front and be a big nuisance. Just think what Jamie Vardy was like in that championship campaign. He was raw, very, very raw. And then when he got the chance, we saw what a good finisher he was. And then, of course, he developed into the all-round GOAT, as you mentioned earlier. And I just feel if we have two up front, then we have more experienced players who can play in that number 10, who can enable that centre forward to be right on the last defender on the shoulder. And I think that's his best position. And so when it comes to, we won't do a full preview because later on this week we'll be having the preview against Coventry. What a big game this weekend. You look at the players who played alongside Daka on Saturday, and we mentioned that Daka's probably the one player to be in that side. I think with a player like him, you just need to give him the run of games. He's that instinctive striker. He scored away at AFCON, and we know what the celebration was like. We've all laughed at that. But he scores on his return. Surely, with the dearth of forwards that we have at the moment, he just warrants a place in the side, regardless of what kind of style of centre forward he is, or whether they're going to play a player in behind, because I just don't think Marty Cifuentes will.
To be fair, my 5 things we'd learned is coming. I'm going to post it as soon as we finish this podcast. It touches on that a little bit, but it touches on it with another player, because I spoke about, well, you'll see, I spoke in it about Jake Evans being on the bench and not getting a run. And I think you're completely right. One of the things that I don't like about Leicester and about Marty Cifuentes is the fact that tactics and formations are staying the same. Everything's the same. If things are not working, let's mix it up. And Saturday was the perfect time to mix it up. And probably putting Evans alongside Daka would have been a great idea. First, it would have given us an idea of whether Evans was any good, whether he could make a difference for us, what talent he's got, kind of thing. But secondly, playing up a different formation. Let's see if something else works. Let's see if the two up top works. Let's see whether two midfielders and two wide boys rather than a holding midfielder works. So I just think that's exactly what I've gone for. I've gone for it was a missed opportunity by Martin Cifuentes. I mean, I'm a Cifuentes fan on the whole. I think he's been given a raw deal at the club. I think he's doing okay. Obviously, when we go on a bad run, probably that changes and things like that. But that's how fickle we can be as fans, kind of thing. But on the whole, I think he's doing okay. I just want to see a little bit of something different from him. So having a Daka and a Evans up top on Saturday, just a missed opportunity for me. And I hope that Daka comes and maybe gets a start against Coventry at the weekend, because I do think he can cause trouble at times. He's a little bit of a headless chicken as well, but he has got that talent to put the ball in the back of the net, and I just think he needs that consistency. He needs those starts. Let's look at Oliver Skipp. Barely could get a game in at the start of the season. He had Winks and James and Deco David Reed when he was back from injury. And then all of a sudden, Winks goes out the side and Skipp comes in playing consistently, and he's just getting better and better and better. So I think if you can give somebody a run of games consistently, they will get better. And if you stick with Daka and go put him ahead of Jordan Ayew, I'm convinced he will get another 3, 4, 5 goals before the end of the season. And it won't be such a bad place for strikers, if so. But yeah, I just want to see something different. Let's see whether we can cause Coventry trouble at the weekend by going 4-4-2. They're going to be expecting the 4-5-1, whatever it is that we play. Just something a little bit different, and that's what I want to see. And you hit the nail on the head. Let's give Daka a run in the side and see how he does.
First of all, also with Curran going away and scoring a penalty on his first start for his new club, we just don't have another option. So I think it's almost his hands are tied. And again, that's a line I'm going to use in my piece on Fox8.news regarding Cifuentes. His hands really are tied, but I think he could be a little bit more experimental. And again, I'm paraphrasing what you're going to be releasing on for Fox8.news very soon regarding what we've learned from Cheltenham, and that is what a great chance to do that. And then when you look at the next round, like what other chance do we have, or what other chance would Marty Cifuentes have? Because he's not going to do it in the league. He's not going to do it away from home, first of all, and he's not going to do it at home, even after positive results. And then we've gone into a home game, and he still played the same formation, the same tactics, etc. We know that's not going to change. The only reason that's going to change would be through a raft of injuries, and he's not going to be able to play certain players. But I just don't think that's going to happen. So the next option would be a relatively favourable home tie against lower league opposition, of which there were plenty in the fourth round. And if you've watched the fourth round draw, I don't think overall it's a great draw for anyone. There's one or two games, but overall I think it's a pretty poor draw. And the one thing you don't want, Andy, is a away game against a similar opposition to where you are in the league. That it's not what you want, is it? And also maybe an away game at another end of the country as well. That's a bit awkward to physically get to. So Southampton away would be right towards the top of the list of places and ties that I did not want to come out of the draw. And we get Southampton away. What we all thought straight away when Leicester's number came up away at Southampton?
Just uninspiring, isn't it? It's just an extension of the league. As simple as that, really. It's no offense to Southampton. I'm sure they're thinking the same about us. They didn't really want to be playing us. I'd have wanted either a tester of a lower end Premier League side. Let's see where we actually are are we still able to compete at the lower end if we had a good game, or let's go and have a little bit of a run and take the pressure off, have a little bit of a run in the cup with the lower league team, that we can go there, or even at our place, have a comfortable win. Maybe, you never know, you'll get another tie where you're playing another lower league side the round after, if we get through that. And then all of a sudden you're in the quarterfinals kind of thing. And then it's a game that you take it's one game at a time then, isn't it? It's a lottery when it gets to that point of the competition. So yeah, it's just really uninspiring. And I hope that they go there and maybe put on a performance and have a good win. And you never know, and maybe there'll be a couple of teams left from the lower leagues in round 5. But yeah, it's just poor and boring, wasn't it?
It really was, and they scraped through. They had a very, very strange game away at Doncaster, and again, it's no great. I've mentioned it a million times, but I do a lot of work for Southampton, and they were cruising 3-0 away at Doncaster, and then all of a sudden, under a bit of an aerial bombardment, their goalkeeper, oh my word, Peretz, essentially what was a third choice goalkeeper, anything in the penalty area, if he came for it, he flapped, and that was only a few, because the rest he didn't come for, including one that went over his head on the goal line, and it was a header from about 6 inches, quite ridiculous, really, from a corner. So if he's playing, well, I think Vestergaard and a few people will be licking their lips at that. So that's something to keep an eye out for. But yeah, they scraped through 3-2, and they're a very up and down side, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to doing the preview for that game, because I did miss out on doing the preview for the league game, even though it turned into a bit of a horror show. But yeah, it's Southampton away. I really wanted a home side like Mansfield, etc., or someone from a lower league, just to give, again, the ability to play youngsters and play them at home, and have that that step up in their career, which all young players want. It's either through a stunning goal or a stunning performance, and all of a sudden they've reached a new level, or by getting games in their legs as a substitute, and then on the 1 or 2 occasions when they do start, they don't have to pull up trees. They don't have to prove themselves and do something extraordinary. I heard a good line regarding Chelsea and their players, the fact that they're all so young and they're all trying to do something amazing. They're actually forgetting to play as a team. And it's costly mistakes that are costing them in the league. And also, that's why they've got a poor disciplinary record, because players are diving in with tackles, trying to show off and be that main player, trying too hard. And Leicester, with these youngsters, I think just giving them the platform, getting the games in their legs, all important, and then having those games where you can give them a start. You can say to a Page, perfect time against Cheltenham, here's your chance, middle of the park, just in front of a very solid defensive midfield of Skip and Chowdhury on paper, and do your stuff. You can be that main creative player. And then a home tie against the lower league opposition, it would have been a perfect opportunity. And again, you just grow a bit more until they get used to being that regular starter for Leicester. And then, of course, you can throw them in towards the proverbial deep end in a league match. Hopefully against Southampton, that will be the case. I can't see it. I think they will probably go quite strong with a small smattering of youngsters, but that's all to come. There was one player, though, who came on very late on, and Mr. Marcel. Very interesting. A player we've seen before a few years ago score a couple of nice goals as well. Very interesting that he came on. Shame, obviously, Evans didn't. But what do you make of his inclusion back in the squad? Obviously, a different setup at the moment from where he was a couple of years ago. Different manager, etc., coaching staff, and just a fresh chance. Why not?
Yeah, why not? It was nice to see him. He's become a bit of a lost man. He obviously went out on loan last year, I think it was. It was nice to see him. We didn't really get long enough to see whether he could make an impact or anything like that, but he's another option, and you'd rather have him on the bench than somebody like a Fassa or a Winks, who are obviously not bothered or have a wrong attitude kind of thing. So why not stick him on the bench? Let's see what he can do. He obviously made that impact when he first came into the side a couple of years ago. I think it was under Maresca. So it was nice to see him. I want longer, but he's not going to get that game time straight off, is he? So hopefully he'll be on the bench. He'll be a fixture on the bench. Let's see what he can do. Let's give him 10, 15 minutes at games in the next few weeks. Let's see what he can do. And you never know, against Southampton, he may be that kind of player that you do start. He'll be hungry to make an impact, and he'll want a new contract. I assume his contract will be up shortly, if not this year and maybe another year. So put himself in the shop window, and let's get him out there and see what he can do. He might just be the difference. That's what's frustrating about Jake Evans. He could well be the difference maker. So let's have a look at him. Like I said, we're not pulling up any trees up front. let's have a look at someone different. If it don't work, it doesn't work. That's fair enough. Then you go back to the tried and tested. But that's for both of them, Marcel and Evans. Let's see them and give them some minutes, and let's see what they can do.
Final thing then on the podcast before later in the week, when we'll be joined by Rob Hayes and the preview for that vital game against Coventry. What a great game on Saturday lunchtime. We are in January. We're on January the 12th at the time of recording, Andy. And, well, no one's come into the club. We've let go of loan signing Carenzo. He's gone. Ramsey's out injured. I just want your overall view right as we stand right now on the 12th. My point of view is with Ramsey, I think it's just a case of he's going to be injured and it's going to take time for him to get back in the side. Then obviously it'd be great then if we could release him back to his parent club and use that loan option for another player. We've got one in the back pocket, and you can only imagine that those will be a very late signing, maybe even on the final day of the transfer window, as is what normally happens, but also in the loan market, because players will maybe give themselves until the last possible chance for a club, maybe higher up than they think. Maybe a deal's been done, it's going to be put on the table for a couple of weeks until the last possible second. Hopefully we can bring in players, and again, forward positions that Cervantes has made public that he wants, and it's very obvious to everyone who supports Leicester that that's what we need. But elsewhere, a question that I asked Rob on the preview for Cheltenham, and that was regarding those players who were missing. And we half speculated whether Winks is going to be in the side or in and around the side against Cheltenham. Obviously not the case. And then the same with Walt Vass as well. And there were plenty of people who were commenting at the time, watching live to the show, saying that they didn't want him there because they thought that the crowd wouldn't like it, they would boo, etc. It would become a bit of a pantomime. I call him a bit of a pantomime villain with Winks in his falling out with Cifuentes and also Ruud van Nistelrooy. And it's a case of, do you think that they should be kept just in case there are problems in the squad and they need to come in, and to also give themselves an ability to prove themselves to future clubs in the summer? Because let's get it right, they're both going to leave in the summer. So here's your chance to play. Or is it a case of get rid now? Just get rid now in January, free up the places in the squad for maybe using some of the money to maybe bring someone else in on the wages front, or even if that's just not the case that we're going to bring anyone in, just get rid now for the atmosphere surrounding the squad.
In an ideal situation, I think you try and sell them now. Let's be honest, they're not going to come back into the squad. I can't see that at all. However, what I do think is, I think that probably both of them, less so Fast because he'll have eyes on the World Cup with Belgium possibly. But I think Winks is probably happy to sit on his wage until the end of the season when his contract's up. He'll still have credit in the bank for other clubs to come in and take him in the summer kind of thing. So I think he'll just sit on his contract and do what he can, what he has to do in training or whatever. Fast is slightly different. Like I say, I think he has got the possible World Cup if he can get back in and playing regularly. I think that's just come up there. Window to Monaco, loan window to Monaco. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. I prefer it to go out on with a fee kind of thing, but not on a loan. But it's wages off the book at the end of the day as well. And that could, you never know, free up some money to go out and get a loan signing. Like with Ramsey, unfortunately, it's just not worked out. Send him back. Let's see what else is available. Let's go and get 2 or 3 players in that can make an impact before the end of the season. Make sure that we're firmly stuck in mid-table and there's no risk of relegation or anything like that with the points deduction. Let's get a couple of players in just to freshen up the side, rejuvenate it. It's going to happen in the summer anyway. I think quite a lot are out of contract or we're moving on. So it's going to be let's start early and let's have a bit of a freshness. Let's see if anyone can come and make an impact. You never know. Stick them, buy them in the summer if they do make an impact. But yeah, send out Winks and Sumari if you can. Sorry, Winks and Fast if you can. I'd go with Sumari as well. I'd probably move him on. I think he's been linked with a couple of sides. I think Monaco one of them as well. So yeah, send them out. Let's get a few players in and let's see if we can freshen up the side and make an impact and make us a bit better towards the end of the season.
It would be when they do leave, Winks and Walt Vass, when they do leave, their Leicester City careers are going to be very interesting. I'm sure we'll be doing pieces on both of them when they leave, because talk about up and down careers, success, ridiculous failures, ridiculous moments as well, off the field and on the field from both players. Very, very strange careers, but well worth discussing, and we will do on the podcast, but also on forfox8.news. Let's just remind viewers and listeners for Fox 8 what's coming up on forfox8.news this week. Remember, membership is only £5 per month, and that is the price of a pint or maybe even a glass of wine, etc. And for that, you get these podcasts. You get all the articles on forfox8.news, including this week. Make sure you read about Howard Riley, who sadly passed away. And again, there is an interview with Rob Hayes that Rob conducted a number of years ago on the site. There's the continued countdown of the top 100 players by my good self, with a bio from every player as well, and a few thoughts from my good self. And really, really enjoyed writing, and it will be released at the end of this week, about a certain player from the late 90s, a very, very popular player. There's plenty more on there. You've got the interview that you conducted with the Italian journalist regarding Jamie Vardy. There's lots of coverage of the women's team, who resumed their WSL campaign with a very unlucky 1-0 away defeat by Tottenham. But and there's lots more on forfox8.news. So check out the site. Again, check it out on your laptop and, of course, on your mobile as well. It's a beautiful looking site. And then please do sign up. Again, it keeps us going, doesn't it? At the end of the day, we provide all this for you, and it keeps the cogs turning. So if you can, please do subscribe to that. Again, £5 a month. But let's just finish for the last minute on the women's team, because it was just a disappointing 1-0 defeat away, and an own goal by the new signing as well. But they will have an opportunity to get their own back, because I'm pretty sure they've drawn Tottenham in the Women's FA Cup.
That's correct. Yeah, so they'll be back again I think it's Saturday this time. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, it's an opportunity. Obviously, they've brought in a few players. They've let the captain go, obviously, as well. But yeah, bringing in a few players there. Rick Passmore's obviously trying to freshen up the side. They seem to be in a place where they're on the edge of being in trouble, but they're just keeping themselves above the parapet at the minute. I think there's a couple of sides that are quite possibly a lot poorer than them, so I think they'll be okay. But he's obviously wanting to freshen up that side, give them a bit of impetus as they go in towards the second half of the season. And you never know, a few more wins and they can get that momentum and confidence again, build themselves up the table. It's obviously a small league kind of thing, so they need to be on their game, and they're improving all the time. So it's good to see. A big fan of Rick Passmore. I dealt with him a long time ago when he was manager at Notts County. So yeah, a good women's football man. He knows what he's doing. He'll get them work hard. For me, he's the kind of man. He's the Sean Dyche of women's football. Just solid. He'll get you results. He'll grind your results out. He knows what he's doing. I think he's a decent person to have in charge when we're trying to transition to being a confident side and building momentum. So hopefully he can take us up to that next step and beyond.
Yeah, there's a lovely piece with Chloe Hudson-Jones as well on forfox8.news, former Leicester player. We're talking all things Leicester. And also, if you are watching this, you can also watch Lily Saunders on the Women's Football Show as well. Check that out, because I do keep a lookout for Leicester City women, but I've learned an awful lot more since January the 1st by reading those articles on forfox8.news. That's it for the show. We'll be back later on in the week with Rob Hayes talking all things on the preview. Coventry away on Saturday lunchtime. So from Andy and myself, have a very good evening, and we're through to the fourth round. Who knows? We could be talking in a couple of months' time, maybe later on, maybe Wembley. Am I getting too much of ahead of myself? Probably, but that's
a little bit later.
That's the case on For Fox 8. Check out forfox8.news, and we'll see you later on in the week.
Bye. Cheers.